Autolite and its 96,000 dealers present Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you Vamp Till Dead, a suspense play starring Miss Ginger Rogers. And now, with Vamp Till Dead and the performance of Miss Ginger Rogers, Autolite hopes once again to keep you in suspense.
Your first name, I've forgotten. What did you say it was?
Amy, Mr. Gentry. Amy Watkins.
Amy. Yes. And are you a good secretary, Amy?
Why, you have all of my recommendations, Mr. Gentry. I mailed them to you a week ago.
Oh, yes. To be sure, I must have looked at them or I wouldn't have hired you and had you come all the way from New York now, would I? You've never worked for a writer. You think you'll like it here in this big house working for me?
I hope so, sir.
Sir. Sir. That's very good. Did that politeness come from some secretarial school, or perhaps your dear old mother taught it to you?
No, I know, sir.
Never mind, Amy. As soon as we finish eating, you may unpack, write whoever you have to write, and explain that you are safely here. We start work first thing in the morning.
I'll attend to all that, Mr. Gentry.
What do you think of me?
I beg your pardon?
Me. How do I strike you? What am I? A gentle person, a wit, a profound talent, a buffoon? Tell me, Amy. I'd be interested in your opinion.
Well, I've only known you half an hour, Mr. Gentry.
Then I'll tell you I'm a writer. Amy, do you know what it means to have 1,000,000 words inside of you and not be able to let them out?
No, sir.
It's an utter horror, and that's the way it's been with me for almost a year. But now I'm ready to go back to work again and release those 1,000,000 words. To take them down, that'll be your job.
I'll do my best, Mr. Gentry.
It's not going to be easy, very demanding, Amy. That's why I'm paying you a good salary. I'll make you work when it's working time.
I understand, Mr. Gentry.
Sometimes I feel like working, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I like carnations on the dinner table, Amy. Very hard to get. Shipping problems in winter like this. Delicate, fragile things.
Yes, they are. But they're my favorite flower.
The cook's name is Jenny. She'll help you find your way around the house. And for heaven's sake, call me Paul, not Mr. Gentry.
Yes, Paul.
Oh, that's better. I suppose you're tired.
Yes, I am. It was a terribly long trip.
You can find your way to your room. Wait a moment, Amy. Wait. First time I've had a good look at you. Can't see by candlelight over a dinner table. Tilt your head toward the lamp. I want to see your face more clearly.
But don't.
Do as I say. You're trembling as I touch your face, Amy. You're frightened.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not at all.
At this instant, you can't decide whether or not I'm a madman. You must need this job very badly.
I want to work for you. I have an invalid father.
I'm not interested in your problems. Don't tell them to me. Amy, it's an assistance to me if people adjust to new situations as quickly as possible. Have you heard about my wife?
No, sir. I haven't.
Well, you will, so I'll tell you. People around here say I killed Mrs. Gentry.
His great black eyes, set deep back in his head, seemed to be laughing at me when he said that. As though he expected me to run from the room and get as far away from him as I could. But I didn't move. Somehow, in that moment, I knew that I wanted to be near him, no matter what he had done.
Good night, Amy.
I went upstairs to my room. I could still hear laughter even after I closed the door. And then, finally it stopped. And I was lying across my bed when I was aware that someone was standing beside me.
He's like that, child. You mustn't mind him.
What?
It's his way. A way you'll come to know and understand if you remain here and work for him. I'm Jenny, the cook.
Oh, yes. I'm glad to meet you. He said you'd show me around. Somehow I didn't imagine you'd be like this.
Oh, my dear. Well, I find more satisfactory inspiration in serving meals for a fine writer like Paul Gentry than I ever found in the 23 years I taught a high school English class.
Mm-hmm. Jenny, I'm going to like you.
Don't let him upset you. He really doesn't mean it. He can be as gentle as he is harsh. No one really understands him.
Did Mrs. Gentry understand him?
No, she didn't. She never made an attempt. There's a question in your eyes, Amy.
Was she murdered?
Yes. In that little guest cottage down by the bridge. You can see it from this window.
There? Oh, it seems so still and quiet, Jenny. It's hard to realize.
Yes. It happened almost a year ago. I served dinner that night. They argued over something trivial, of flowers on the table. Mrs. Gentry ran from the house. A few minutes later, I could hear her playing the piano from that cottage. Some little tune that always infuriated him. The next morning, her body was found slumped over the piano. Her neck was broken. That's all.
Thank you for telling me about it, Jenny.
There was no evidence against Mr. Gentry. No proof. Only hearsay and talk.
I see.
You'll hear that talk from time to time, Evie. Will it disturb you?
No, I don't think so.
Strange.
What?
Your appearance, my dear. It's really quite remarkable how much you resemble Isabel Gentry.
I didn't go right to bed that night. Instead, I slipped out of the house after everything became quiet and followed the path across the bridge to the guest cottage, where she had been murdered. The door was unlocked, and even though it was dark, I found the piano. As I played, I wondered how much of Paul Gentry I might have understood if I had been Isabel.